board. If you guys would go ahead and send out your last second chat messages and text messages and remind everybody to hop on. It looks like we already have quite a few people here joining us. So we're going to give it 1 second for you to get those last second little text messages out and remind your teams. And then we're going to get started super quick. So. All right, and if you have anybody who's on your team who you like specifically are like they need help in the goal setting area, make sure you send out those messages. I literally private message individually, I think over 100 people because I was like, you need to get on this. So, all right, well, it looks like we still have a ton of people joining us, but we're gonna go ahead and get started. If they're late, they can always go back and catch the replay. I know that there are a couple of other Zooms that might be running a few minutes late, and then everybody will hop on. So one of the things I wanted to talk to you guys about tonight that's the most important is goal setting. So if any of you guys have been on a goal setting Zoom that I've done before, this is going to be extremely similar, but it can't hurt to hear it one more time, take notes. You know, get a little refresher crash course. But if this is your first time being on one of my goal setting Zooms, could you type a 1 in the chat so that I know that we've got some first timers on here, and I'll make sure that I go into a little more detail if we've got quite a few first timers. Okay, good. We've got some first time goal setting Zoom people on here. Awesome. Okay, so first of all, let's talk about why you need to set goals. Everybody around here is talking about New Year's resolutions. You see it all over your Facebook feed. You see, you know, people's New Year's resolution to lose 10 pounds, or, you know, they want to run a 5K. I know Christina Peterson told me that she wanted to run a 5K. That was on her New Year's resolution list. We have people who, you know, want to save X amount of dollars, or, you know, hit a certain rank in their business. All of those, while they're resolutions, they're also goals. So the cool part about it is not a lot of people actually have thought about what they want their life to look like in 5 years. Being honest, if you have a 5-year goal, could you type in chats the number 5? If you have a 5-year goal, you've sat down, you've thought about it, you've actually put it on paper. So Jordan has a 5-year goal. Meg has a 5-year goal. Melissa has a 5-year goal. Okay, so a few of you guys do have 5-year goals. Did you know that the majority of people, if you ask them that question, if you said, hey, what's your 5-year goal? What's your 5-year plan? Probably 90% of people don't have one. And you guys will notice that that's true. Especially for a lot of people who are just joining us or just coming into Prove It or just coming onto our team, because maybe no one has ever asked them that question before. So, you know, if you don't have a 5-year goal, ask yourself, like, what's my 5-year goal? Do you have a 1-year goal? Do you have a 6-month goal? Do you even have a goal for the end of the day? I know that sounds silly, but having goals and setting goals gives you direction and focus. So if you want to succeed, you'll need goals, because without goals, you lack focus, you lack direction. It actually allows you to take charge and like determine a benchmark for measuring success. So if you don't have a goal, then you actually have no way to measure your success. So if you're not sitting there and working for something every single day, how do you know when you've achieved it? So let's talk about the 5 golden rules for goal setting. Some of you guys have heard this before, some of you guys haven't. So I'm just going to go through and start from the beginning. So the most important thing is to set a goal that motivates you. So that means that you need to know your why. All of your goals should tie back into your why. So, you know, if your why for your Prove It business is, you know, to get healthy, what does healthy look like for you? You should have a goal surrounding that, and always tie it back into your why. So your why is to get healthy so that you stay stay alive longer for your children. So what does that goal look like? Does that goal look like that you need to lose 20 pounds? Does that, what is that goal for you? This sweater is super warm. Rob, you would be impressed. It's actually like 10 degrees here in Alabama, which I don't know what that is in Celsius, but it's 10 degrees Fahrenheit here in Alabama. So it's a little freezing. Got me totally off track talking about my warm sweater. But one of the things that's going to help you so much is if you were explaining your why to someone, how would you convince them that it's worthwhile? So sit there, take a second, think about a goal that you have. And if I was to say, hey, Leslie, what's your goal? Can you talk? Can you unmute yourself and talk? You're just right next to me, so I'm going to pick on you. So what's your goal?
My goal this is what I really need, because I'm really hopeless with goals. I haven't even looked at my life in 5 years, I've been thinking about it a lot lately because I have to set these goals down. And with these calls with Mitch Newman and things like that, I've been kind of jotting down different things. But yes, I was listening to you saying, like, your goals have to be incorporated with your why. And my why has changed since I started with Prove It. Well, it's evolved. It hasn't changed. I mean, there's lots of things that are the same, but it's evolved a lot. So this is something that I don't have any set goals right now. I'm really working on it, and I've been writing notes like all day long, just jotting things down and trying to get my stuff together to do these things. So I was so pumped for this Zoom because I need help in this area. So I'm sorry I can't help you.
That's okay. Can you think of like one tiny little goal? So maybe it's you want to lose 5 more pounds. You have a specific bill you would love to pay off. Even just a tiny baby goal. Can you think of one?
Well, my tiny baby goal is actually a big giant debt. I want to be debt free by the end of 2018.
Okay, awesome. So if you're going to explain to someone why that is important to you, what would you say?
Why would being debt free be important to me? Well, honestly, because then it would give me more money to share with my family. It's going to give me more freedom to do things that I'm looking forward to doing. So this is more of the things where it's evolved. I never thought I would be able to travel or do the things that I've been allowed to do or earned or whatever you want to call it with Prove It. So my life has changed so much that it's incredible. But
yeah.
The debt-free would just take so much more stress off our household. We're chipping away, but I want to accelerate that, and I do want to make that a goal for 2018. So.
Awesome. Okay, so it would be super simple to kind of rephrase what you said. And so on days when you're like, oh, this stinks. Like, I really just want to go out and buy a new pair of shoes, but my goal is to be debt-free, and you're feeling a little down. You're feeling maybe that goal, is not super important to you today. You're just over it. You're done. If you go back to revisit that and you think, man, you know what, my goal is to be debt free because it's going to mean freedom for me. It's going to mean that I'm going to get to travel more. It's going to mean that I'm going to get to do more things with my family. Like how empowering it feels just to kind of say that out loud. That's what I encourage all of you guys to do. Thank you, Leslie. I'm sorry. I just picked on you because you were like this to me. You were like right over here. And I could see your face and I could see that you were actually paying attention. So I was like, I'll pick on her. So thanks for participating. But all of you guys need to do that too. So whatever your goal is, tie it back to your why. Make sure that on days when maybe you're struggling with your goal, maybe your goal, is getting you down, or maybe you haven't made the progress that you've wanted to make, you're feeling that challenge and that pressure, that you go back and you think of that statement. So however it is that you would tell somebody that your why is super important to you, write that down. Like take a second and actually write that down. Because when you're having a tough day, that's what you go back and revisit. Because if you keep focusing on the goal and you keep focusing on the goal and you keep focusing on the goal, and you forget about why you even have the goal in the first place, it's really demotivating and it's disempowering. So, number one is set a goal that motivates you. Number two is one that I talk about a lot. And if you've heard me ever talk about goal setting ever, you've heard me talk about SMART goals. And if you've been in any sort of business or management realm before, you've probably actually already had SMART goal training. I know that every company that I've ever been with before proved it. I was in retail management. As managers, when we set goals for our store or for our employees, we had to set SMART goals. So we had to actually sit down and make sure that the goals we were setting fit into these 5 categories. So SMART stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. And I'll say those like 87 times in the next couple of minutes. So if you didn't catch them all, that's okay. So specific, your goal must be specific. That means, what is your goal? Why do you have your goal? What is required of your goal? What are the constraints for your goal? So make sure that your goal is something extremely specific. Don't have a broad goal of changing the world. That's an awesome thing that we all would love to strive to do. I would love to change the world. But that's not necessarily a goal because it's not specific. Like, what does change the world even mean? So for that to be a goal, you have to narrow it down. Your goal could be to be rich. But what does that mean? Rich to one person is one number. Rich to another person is something completely different. Like, what does that mean? So be specific. You want to have success. What does that look like? Really sit down and hash out what specifically your goal is. So S is for specific. M is for measurable. So how will you measure and how will you know that it was accomplished? So it's really important that when you're specific in your goal, that there's also something that you're going to use to measure whether or not you've succeeded or how close you are. So a measurable goal. So, like I just said, change the world. You want to change the world. But we need to be a little more specific. What do we really want to do? Okay, well, really, we want to introduce ketones to a lot of people. Okay, even more specific than that, what is a lot of people? What is measurable? So say I want to have 500 personally enrolled customers by the end of the year. Now it's measurable. Now I can look in my cloud office and I can sit there and I can say, okay, I have 300 personally enrolled customers and I have 200 more to go. So now we're getting somewhere. Like, now we're getting to a goal that is something that we might actually achieve because it's specific and it's measurable. So specific, measurable. Number 3 is achievable. So we don't want to set a goal that is going to set us up for failure. So while hitting legend in 2 months is an awesome goal, is it realistically achievable? Maybe, maybe not. For me, myself, I would not set that goal for myself because it would be disempowering for me. I don't necessarily feel that that is something that I personally could achieve. Can it be achieved, and what logical steps will actually get you there? So really self-reflect, and if maybe you have a mountain of debt and debt-free is not something that you're going to be in the next month, then that shouldn't be the end game for your goal. So really reflect and make sure that your goal is something that is realistic and it's achievable. Because if you're setting these big, crazy, hairy, scary goals that you really know in the back of your head are probably not a goal that you should be setting for yourself, that you're kind of setting yourself up for failure, that's super disempowering. And then, you get extremely discouraged when halfway through the month, you're not debt-free. Or you're not halfway debt-free. Halfway through the year, you don't have $7 million in the bank. Well, was that a super achievable goal when you set it? So just really make sure that the goals that you set, you realistically feel like you can handle. I'm all for having a stretch goal, a goal that's going to push you and stretch you a little bit. But once you kind of take it a little bit too far and your goal is a little unrealistic, yeah, so it feels good to set super small goals that are easy to achieve. So, you know, there's nothing wrong with setting a goal that you know that you're probably going to achieve just to boost your confidence just a little. But definitely always have that stretch goal that's just one step further that you're going to push for. So specific, measurable, and achievable. The next one is relevant. So relevant, is it a worthwhile goal? Is it in line with the objectives that you have for your business, for your life, you know, for your day, whatever it is? So obviously, you know, if my end game with Prove It is that I want to retire John, or, you know, I want to travel the world with my kids, the goals that you have need to fall in line with that. They need to be relevant. They need to be important. If you achieve them, are they going to get you closer to your end all be all goal? You know, obviously losing 10 pounds is not necessarily a goal that I'm going to set that has anything to do with the financial things that I want to do with Prove It. So just make sure that, you know, when you're sitting there and you're setting your goals, that your goals are relevant. Time bound. So T is for time bound. So there has to be a deadline. Open-ended goals set you up for being lazy, being unmotivated, not really, you know, focusing on them every single day. So how long will it take? When are you going to work on it? When is it due? How many of you guys, like, so I took some of the college classes that I took were, and you guys might have had some of these kind of college classes too, where it didn't matter when you accomplished the assignments, if by the end of the semester, all the assignments were turned in and you took the test. Did any of you guys have any of those like classes in high school or college that like there was no true schedule, you could work at your own pace? Okay, how many of y'all did exactly what I did and you waited until the week of the final to do any of the assignments and turn them in, right? Super guilty because you put it off and you put it off and you put it off and you put it off. Okay, but if assignment 1 was due in 2 days and assignment 3 was due the next week and the assignment 5 was due the next week, and you broke it down into manageable chunks and they had a due date, I excelled in those classes because there was a due date, there was an end game, there was an ending date. So whether your end date is that by the end of the month you want to be X rank, or you want to have enrolled X amount of customers by the end of the month, or if it's within 6 months or within a year, whatever it is, every single goal that you have needs to have an end date, because hitting rank 6 is awesome, but there's a huge difference between hitting rank 6 by the end of the year and hitting rank 6 one day. How, like, there's no drive if your end game is one day. If that's your end date, is one day I want to do this. Break it down, think of a realistic time frame, and set a time constraint on your goal, because you are 10 times more likely to hit a goal if you have a due date. So do you guys, is there any of those letters that you need me to go back and go over? So it's specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. You can pop it in the chat if there's one that you're like, oh, I don't really quite understand that. How many of you guys feel like on a scale from 1 to 10, 1 being not good at all and I suck at it, and 10 being I am a boss at some SMART goals, how do you guys feel like you've been utilizing and making good goals and goal setting for yourself so far on a scale from 1 to 10? We got 4, we got a 1, we got a 3, a 7 or an 8, we got 3s, 2s, 1, 4. Okay, awesome. Well, you guys are at least being extremely transparent and honest, which I totally love. That's awesome. 0, we got a 0 in there from somebody on an iPhone. That's pretty awesome. Okay, so now that you have a little more clarity on what a goal should look like, do you feel comfortable sitting down, and yeah, I'll post the graphic. So actually, if you go to Google right now and you type out SMART goals, there are actually worksheets that you can download to your computer. I highly recommend you download a worksheet. There are worksheets that you can download. There's slideshows, video shows. SMART goals is something that's pretty universal. So, you know, you'll be able to find SMART goals pretty much anywhere. But how many of you guys think that, like, hey, this is what I needed. Like, I needed to know exactly how to narrow down my goals. You know, you can throw a thumbs up or a high five or whatever. But this is what you needed, that you needed to be a little more specific, that you needed to be a little more focused, that you needed a deadline, that, you know, you needed to know that it was relevant. Okay, awesome. So now that you know to set SMART goals, the next thing that's important is to set them in writing. So this is something that I am a firm believer in. So if you guys, you can ask Jessica, you can ask Ashley. I don't know if Jessica, Ashley, or Mandy, they're probably on here. I can only see a few people, but they know that I sit down at the beginning of the month and I write my goals out, and I write them down on a sheet of paper. And sometimes, you know, I text it to them, or sometimes I'll snap a picture of it and send it to them. But I always have my goals for the month written down on paper, because then you're committing to it. Then it's something you can go back and revisit. Then it's something tangible. If I have huge goals, if I have a big scary goal that I'm going for, I'll actually write it on a sheet of paper and stick it on my office wall. I will make a copy of it and I'll put it on my bathroom mirror. I will take a copy of it and it'll be on my refrigerator. There will be a copy of it in my car. It takes a couple seconds to jot down your goals, but when you're sitting there and, you know, you're having a not so great day and maybe you haven't gotten the things accomplished that you probably need to get accomplished to go towards your goal. If you're about to open the refrigerator and your goals are smacking you in the face, or you're putting your makeup on and your goals are smacking you in the face, you're driving down the street and your goals are sitting there on your dashboard, they're constantly in your mind. So I've put them on mirrors in my dining room. I've put them on my computer before. Anywhere you can think of that you look at anytime. You know, if you work a 9 to 5 and you stick it on your desk at work, whatever it is, but write them down and put them in a place where you're going to revisit them, where you're going to visit them over and over and over again. Because writing them down is a commitment. Have you guys ever noticed that, like, you can have a goal, but like you put it in writing and or someone asks you and you like type it out and all of a sudden it's like, oh, okay, now it's official. Like, now I said I was going to do it. It's just like literally broadcasting your goal on Facebook Live or making a Facebook status saying, this is my goal. Now all of a sudden you feel super married to it and you feel like, now I for sure have to do it. Same thing with writing them down. So write down your goals. So set a goal that motivates you. Make sure that it's SMART. Write it down. And then this is something that a lot of people don't do, and it's going to be extremely important, and is going to make you that much more successful at actually achieving your goals. And that's make an action plan. So for every goal that I have, whether it's I want to enroll 10 new customers, you have to think of the action steps that go along with that specific goal. So for instance, my goal is to get 10 new customers this month. So I'm going to break it down into some manageable chunks. Then I'm going to say, okay, that's around 2 new customers a week or 3 new customers a week. Well, what action steps are going to get me there? And I sit down and I actually do this. I'm like, okay, what things do I need to do differently, or what things do I need to continue doing that are going to get me those 10 customers? So what do those action steps look like? Those action steps look like mixers. Those action steps look like sending out those, what do you know about ketones or ketosis messages? You know, I want to send out 10 a day, 20 a day, 30 a day, whatever that looks like for you. How many mixers are you going to have? Be specific. So I'm going to have a mixer a week. I am going to introduce ketones to at least 2 new people a day. I am going to send out, what do you know, messages 10 times a day. Whatever your goal is, you got your big goal, think of all the action steps that it actually is going to take for you to achieve that goal and write them down too. So have your goal and then have all the steps that it's going to take. So for instance, if my goal, I wanted to go to Disney World in 3 months, and I would sit down and I would make a budget and I would figure out how much it costs for me to go to Disney World. And then I would sit there and I would break it down and think of where I can save these amounts of money. And all of a sudden, now I have a manageable plan as to how I'm going to achieve my goal. But if I just say, I want to go to Disney World, but I never price it out, I never save money, I never clip a coupon, I never book anything, I never actually take any action steps, it doesn't do you any good. So break it down into manageable chunks. Think about the actual specific things that you need to be doing to achieve those goals, and write those down as well. So make an action plan. And then the last one that is just as important as all the rest is stick with it. So I know that sounds dumb and simple, and you're like, well, obviously I made a goal, so I know I'm supposed to stick with it. There are actually tips and tricks to sticking with it. So, whether you have an accountability partner, if there's somebody who you're super close to, so John knows my goals. Like, he knows what I want to do. He knows the things that I want to accomplish. And so he will send me a message and be like, hey, how are things going? Like, how's it going this month? Or, how's it going this week? Have that accountability partner. That is something that's extremely important. And if maybe you don't have somebody who's in your business, it can be a family member. It could be a family member. It could be a friend who just understands. It could be your enroller. It could be your champ upline. It could be a random stranger on our team. You could literally message me and say, hey, these are my goals. Will you hold me accountable? And I will. I will set a timer and I will check in with you in 1 week. But have accountability. Stick with it. That's why I tell you to write it down and post it all over your house. That's accountability. It's so that you can stare those goals in the face and really self-evaluate and say, hey, am I on track? Am I not on track? Where do I need to course correct? Like, where do I need to make changes so that I can eventually hit that goal in the end? So stick with it. So the 5 ones, if you didn't get them, if you're writing them all down, your 5 things are: set goals that motivate you, make sure that they're SMART goals, set them in writing, make an action plan, and stick with it. So those are the 5, they call them the 5 golden rules of goal setting. And then the SMART goal is specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. So how many of you guys feel like you can hop off of this Zoom in just a little bit and you can sit down and you can make just January goals, you can make 2018 goals, you can make, goals for the next 5 years? How many of you guys feel like now you are equipped and you are confident that you know how to make those goals and you know how to make them work? I see a lot of me's and yeses and for sure's. Okay, if there's anybody who does not feel that way and you need a little extra help, feel free to message me. I have no problem helping you. If you get stuck, if you're like, I have no idea how to make an action plan for this specific goal or whatever it is, message me. I literally have 10 years of action step planning training that I can help you through it. So that was the goal setting part of this Zoom, and I wanted to thanks, y'all are awesome. And I wanted to take a few seconds while we're on here to also just talk about 2018, because now that we're talking about goals and we're talking about resolutions and we're talking about like how to kick 2018 off with a bang, it's like the perfect segue into the 2018 relaunch of your business. So one thing that I have been doing, and some of you guys are probably in my relaunch message, and if you're not in the relaunch message and you want to be, it's kind of open for anybody. But it is I'm calling it a 2018 relaunch. So I have literally gone through my entire downline of personally enrolled and people who I have been connected to in the past. Maybe they're 2, 3, 4 levels deep. And I have asked them if they would like to recommit and relaunch their business. Super simple. I do not rule anyone out. That's the main thing. You have no idea why somebody drifted off. You have no idea why somebody stopped drinking ketones. You have no idea why somebody stopped focusing on their business or stopped posting about Prove It, or, you know, whatever life happens that got in their way. You can't make that decision for someone. So do not rule anybody out. I sat there and I went through my friends list and I was like, okay, this person hasn't posted about Prove It in 10 months. I finally stopped bugging them a few months ago. They just didn't want to be a promoter. They're just not all about it. I opened up Facebook Messenger and I sent them a message and I said, hey girl, I just wanted to reach out to you because I have a lot of people who are planning on relaunching their business in 2018, and we're getting them together so that we can all do it as a group, and I would love for you to be a part of it. And you know what? Some of the people who I never in a million years thought would give a crap about relaunching their business said, you know what? I would love to. Could you please add me to that message? And so I'm getting them all together, and we're just starting from scratch. We're starting by getting people excited again. That feeling that you got the first couple of days that you enrolled in Prove It, and you were going for GoPro, and you were going for Go MVP, and, you know, you were just getting your feet wet, and you were connecting everybody because you had no clue what was going on. We're getting that excitement back. We're giving them action steps. So a lot of you guys probably participated in my challenge in some form or fashion today. That was super simple. It's things you could literally do every single day. It's not going to hurt anybody. It's, you know, nothing that is hard, nothing that's going to make you cry yourself to sleep at night. They were super simple tasks like telling people happy birthday and, you know, commenting on 25 non-Prove It posts. Those are super easy things. But that's something that maybe you haven't been posting about Prove It, or maybe you haven't been as actively engaged in your business. Those are some super simple steps that you can check off your list and feel like, I did something today. I accomplished something. I hit these goals that Ciera set for me, or whoever set for me. Hey, Mandy. So ask everyone, reach out to everyone and see if they are ready to relaunch their business. It doesn't matter where they went, what they've been doing for the last 6 months. I see people talking in the relaunch message now, so I'm assuming that, you know, they're talking about this Zoom. But ask everybody if they want to relaunch their business. So there's no reason not to. It's not going to hurt anything. The worst that's going to happen is they're going to say, you know what, no thanks, I'm super busy and I don't have time. Or, you know, no thanks, I found something else. Or, you know, no thanks, I don't want to drink ketones anymore. But it's not going to hurt you. Like, nothing's going to hurt you. They weren't doing anything anyway. That's why you're asking them to relaunch, right? So it doesn't matter if they continue to not do anything. But out of the 30 people you ask, if 5 or 10 or 15 of them decide that they want to relaunch their business, think about how awesome that would be for you. If 10 of your people who were on fire in the beginning all of a sudden come back and they're on fire in 2018 for a month, 2 months, 3 months, however long they decide to be on fire for, that's an amazing benefit. So don't rule anybody out. Ask everybody. And then do the same thing for your customers. So after Christmas, the day after Christmas, I can't tell you how many people messaged me and said, okay, first of the year, I need to get on the ketogenic diet. I need those ketone things. I got to lose 20 pounds. It's my New Year's resolution. It's my New Year's resolution. How many of you guys have seen people say, it's my New Year's resolution to lose weight? Okay, customers, it doesn't matter. They drank ketones 10 months ago and haven't drank them since. It doesn't matter. What's the worst that's going to happen? They're going to say, no, I don't want to drink them, or no, I don't want to start over, or no, I don't want to get skinny for 2018, or no, I don't want to have reduced brain fog. Like, it's not going to hurt anything to ask them. So I've actually been going through and revisiting any of my customers who have kind of fallen off and just sending them a private message again about 2018 and just saying like, hey, I know that the new year's coming up and a lot of people have resolutions to get into better health or get into better shape. I just wanted to reach out to you and see if those happen to be your goals and if I can help you with them. Super simple. Some of them read the message and don't respond. but I would say most of them go, you know what? I was literally just thinking about that. I was literally just thinking about how I needed to lose 10 pounds. I literally just said that I had to lose 20 pounds in 2018. And all of a sudden you're front of mind again. So they might have gone and done this other thing had you not reached out and asked if they wanted to try again. So revisit all the customers. And I don't say the same thing to every person because they're my customer. I have like a relationship with them. I've talked to them many times before. So I usually send them a really personal message, but it goes along to the effect of, hey, I know everybody's getting ready for New Year's and their New Year's resolution. And I just wanted to reach out and see if, getting into better health or better shape was on your list and if I could help you with that. It's something super simple and easy. And like I said, if you have 60 customers who have fallen off and you message 60 people and 10 of them decide that they want to get back on the wagon, all of a sudden you have 10 people who you wouldn't have had if you hadn't have bothered to reach out to them. So revisit those customers who fell off, ask everyone about a relaunch. And then this is something that's really important. And I talked about social media. If you guys caught my post last night, I posted some social media tips and tricks. And I posted some like go live and Facebook live tips and tricks and like how to really rock a Facebook live and get the most views. But committing to being social and genuine and original. So, and committing to working your social media in 2018 is super important. And some of the things that I wanted to cover really briefly, and then I'm going to get you guys off of here because I promised I would be under 45 minutes, was be original. So one thing that I have noticed a lot in the last couple of days, and I know that a lot of people have already addressed it or maybe, posted it in chat messages, but be original. People know when you're copying and pasting. People know when you didn't write that post because it doesn't sound like you. You don't use 87 emojis. I use 87 emojis. You don't use 27 exclamation marks. I use 27 exclamation marks. You don't say y'all. Jessica Craig says y'all. So like be original. One rule of thumb is that if you go away from the post and you regurgitate it in the way that you would say it, it should sound different because we're all different people. Like, I don't say A, like Rob and Yolanda and Leslie, like I don't say A. So if my post said A on there, like all you Canadians, people will be like, okay, what the heck is wrong with Ciera? They would be confused by it. So make sure it sounds like you, change up the words. Don't use the same picture. So if you use the same picture that someone else used and you use a post that's kind of like the post somebody else used, y'all is pretty common, but not a lot of you guys use it in Facebook posts. I'll go ahead and throw that out there. I don't see that very often. So I would probably think at least half of you copied it from somebody else if you use the word y'all on a Facebook post. But anyway, don't use the same picture. That is actually something that is super important. If you see this one specific before and after floating around, every single person is posting the exact same before and after, guess what Facebook does? Facebook assumes that it's spam. And no one's going to see your before and after because you're the 37th person who's posted the exact same picture that day. And odds are, Prove It is becoming such a household name and the ketone conversation is spreading so quickly. A lot of people who are on your friends list have more than one Prove It promoter on their friends list. So I don't know about you guys, but one of the things that I have always felt sets us apart from other companies is we don't copy and paste and post the exact same spammy message about $9 enrollments and buy one, get one free wraps. No offense if you came from It Works, but y'all all know the exact post that I'm talking about that gets posted every single time It Works has a sale, and every single person posts the exact same words with the exact same green heart emoji. And you're like, man, could you have like got your own brain? That would be awesome. We don't want people thinking the same thing about Prove It. So, as we grow, I know that I have over 1,000 mutual friends with Jessica. Like, is that insane or what? So Jessica and I have 1,000 mutual friends. That means if I copy and paste Jessica's post, 1,000 people are sitting there going, man, It'd be awesome if Ciera got her own brain. That would be so cool. So please make sure that you make it your own. Don't, you know, I'm not saying that you have to come up with, I did say y'all. I do say y'all. I'm from Alabama. I'm allowed to say y'all. But that doesn't mean that you can't use an idea that someone else has. It doesn't mean that you can't use a before and after picture if it's already been posted. Just be aware that if the before and after picture was posted 27 times, Facebook is going to be like, okay, we've already seen all of this. And you're not going to get the engagement that you're looking for. So it's really just to benefit you. It has nothing to do with the original poster coming up with it. It's more for your own benefit. So change words around, use the general idea, but make it your own. Use different pictures. And then, you know, if you have seen the same type of post in your feed more than once or twice, come up with something else. You guys are all super smart. A lot of you guys are super funny. You guys can figure out an awesome new post. And if you're struggling, sorry, I just saw a chat come across with a question and I missed it. Better to drop pics and comments in those instances. Okay, so I will actually, there are differing opinions on dropping pics and comments. So my personal opinion on dropping pics and comments is I'm lazy. And 99% of the people who are on Facebook are also lazy. So for Facebook not marking your picture as spam, yes, that works because they don't scan the comments for duplicate pictures of other posts. I know that that's like a lot and long-winded, but as far as Facebook is concerned, that helps. As far as the customer, the people who are actually looking at your Facebook page, it depends on how nosy they really are, whether they'll actually look in comments for the picture. So I don't do that personally with before and after pictures. I'm not going to bother to click on somebody's post to go through the comments to see what they're talking about. So I personally use the picture on the post. You guys, I posted a tip yesterday about this and said only one picture per post. Don't flood it with like a lot of, I see some people go through and they'll post 27 before and after pictures and it pops up an entire photo album. Nobody cares. Nobody wants to scroll through all of that. For the one person that scrolled through all of that, you missed 27 people who would have loved if you just popped a big, awesome before and after picture up there. So, keep it simple, be original, don't copy the same post over and over and over again. And then be social on social media. So if you want the #1 strategy, what is going to do the absolute most for you in 2018 on social media is be social. So it's called social media because Facebook wants you to interact with people. Like Facebook wants you to be social. So you commenting on people's Facebook statuses, like give more than you get. One of the things that I heard, I think it was day before yesterday, I watch a lot of like Facebook algorithm hacks and webcasts and things like that. And one of the things that was a really awesome tool that I think that we could all utilize if we're wanting to up our social media game is set a point system for yourself. So like a like is 1 point, a comment is 3 points, you know, sending a private message is 5 points. And before you allow yourself to post on social media, you need to accumulate 20 points. So you need to go out and you need to give likes and you need to give comments and you need to give questions and you need to send Facebook messages and, you know, you need to tag people in things before you ever post anything. So give more than you get because the biggest thing about social media, the reason why I can post something and have, you know, 100 Facebook comments is because I promise you, I go out and give as many Facebook comments as I get. So, you know, if you're sitting there and you're posting and you're like, nobody's liking my post, nobody's, you know, nobody's saying anything, nobody's, you know, doing anything. Yes, it possibly could have been John Herrick that gave me the point system idea. I literally watch so much stuff that I forget whose stuff is what, but it's all amazing. But make sure that you're giving more than you're getting. And 9 times out of 10, if you're not getting, it's because earlier that day or earlier that week, maybe you weren't giving. So if you want to really, boost the amount of people that see your stuff on social media, make sure you're giving more than you're getting. And then don't forget the DMOs. Don't forget to do the things that you're supposed to do. And I know that I am super guilty of this, that I physically have to sit there and be like, I need to do my DMOs, and sit myself down and grab my phone and do the things that I know that I need to do. Because when life is crazy, when it's the end of the month, when it was Christmas time, when my little one had a birthday, all of these things are going on. The things that keep you grounded and that tie you back to your business are the same couple of things you literally do every single day. It's the sending out the what do you know about ketones or ketosis. It's sending out the invites to the Facebook page. It's, making 25 comments on non-provers posts. It's liking and sharing stuff from the Prove It Facebook page. Like, those are the things that even on your busiest days, you should be able to squeeze into the cracks of your life and accomplish. That's going to tie you back down to your business. That's going to re-anchor you into, your goals for 2018. So do your DMOs. So ask everybody about relaunch. Revisit every single customer. Don't write anybody off. Commit to being social on social media. Be original, and do your DMOs. Super simple. Those are like my 5 things that if you guys do those 5 things, you are going to be way better off in 2018 than you probably were in 2017. So do you guys have any questions for me? Feel free to unmute yourself, drop them in the chat. Mandy, Jessica, Ashley, I know I literally rambled for that entire time, but if you have other awesome tips, tricks, or hacks, please speak up. I know you guys are all on here, so.
No, I think you did an incredible job. Like, I literally hate you. I don't understand how you're so good at all this stuff. I want to be you. Great. But also, we're here at the end of the year, guys, and I just want to tell y'all, every single second counts. So it doesn't matter if your goal is to hit rank 6 or if your goal is to get 2 more customers. Do not stop until the clock strikes 12 on New Year's Eve. And I know that sounds crazy because it's New Year's Eve, and last year was our first New Year's Eve in the business, and I can remember literally being on my phone. I didn't know what life was going to be like at that time, so I was at this bar with my friends, and because it's New Year's Eve, right, and that's what we did, and I'm on my phone working my business because I was just so driven, and I'm even more driven this year. So I actually did not even make plans this year because I know that I'm going to be on my phone working. So the momentum that you create over these last few days of the month will absolutely start your January with a bang. So I just encourage all of you guys to not give up, no matter how far you feel like you are from that goal. Keep pushing. Like, we just did a goal setting thing. Make a goal tonight before you go to bed on what you would like to accomplish these last few days of the month. We definitely want to make these big goals, these 5-year goals, these 1-year goals, these 1-month goals, but literally let's all commit to making a goal tonight for what we personally want to accomplish in our own personal business before the end of the year, before the end of the month. So hopefully you guys are as fired up as I am. Mandy, did you have anything that you wanted to say? You're muted.
No, I mean, Ciera's amazing. So, like, what is there to even say after that? Like, can she write a book for us? Like an ebook that I can download and play in the car? That's what I need. We're super pumped up, guys. That's the bottom line. I'm sorry that I jumped on a little bit late. I was on a call that Jessica was on, that Ashley was on, so it took forever. We're super pumped up. There is so much happening, so much on the horizon. If the Keto Tea release wasn't a sneak peek of that, I don't know what is. I don't think anything has lasted that short of time, aside from the 1 hour, the 17 minutes that we got raspberry lemonade a couple months ago. But that's just a sneak peek of what we have going ahead. 2018 is going to be amazing, but like, you've heard some of us say, like, 2017 is not over. Like, it's not over. Brian and Prove It always have a ton of fun stuff up their sleeves to help us really close out a month. So I can only begin to imagine what is planned to help us close out our year. So just stay focused and committed. And, you know, here's what I'm going to tell you, and then I'll wrap it up. Because I haven't eaten in 2 days. No joke. I've successfully made it 48 hours without food. And I thought that was going to be on purpose, but it's now not. Like, I really wish I could eat. But here's what I'll tell you. Last year, you know, we're talking about goal settings, and then everybody can just hop up if they don't want to hear me. We're talking about setting goals. I had to move some stuff from my goal list from last year to this year. Okay, so life lesson, it's okay if you don't hit your goals. It doesn't mean you're a failure. It just means one of two things. Either A, you didn't give yourself a long enough time to hit the goal realistically, or B, let's take a look at the example of, I had to move a couple goals over, but here's one example. This goal was in my like spiritual, emotional section. That was to find a new church. Jack and I moved to a community that's 40 minutes away from our old church. That was 9 years ago. I still haven't found a new church. Okay, so last year I was like, man, I really miss church in my life. I really don't want to be the person that just shows up on Christmas Eve, Mass, and Easter Sunday. Like, I can't be that person. I want to get back to going to church. I'm going to find a new church. There's several churches close by. I'm going to find a new church. That's my goal, to become a member of a new church. Raise your hand if you think I'm a member of a new church. Raise your hand if you can take a wild stabbing guess out of all 52 Sundays that occurred or will occur in 2017, how many of those Sundays I spent researching new churches. It's this many. So, like, writing it down didn't mean anything, right? I actually have to complete the action steps to get to that goal. So just keep that in mind when you're thinking about what goals you're setting yourself for 2018. Some of them you have to set realistic time expectations and accept the fact that it's okay to move them into a new period, right? And then other times you have to look at yourself and say, well, that was my own damn fault. I didn't reach that goal. But either way, we're completely capable of it, right? Like, I know what I need to do to hit that goal. And I understand that's not a business goal. I'm just trying to give y'all an example. So go to church on Sunday, Mandy. Yeah, you know what? That's still in 2016 or 2017, isn't it? So I could essentially still hit my goal. There you go. That's I still have one more Sunday. You're right. The year's not over. So anyway, that's just my little, I have no idea if that relates to anything else that was said tonight or anything else that's going on in anybody's head, but we're super pumped up. I literally couldn't even sleep last night because I'm just so excited about what's coming. So we hope you all feel that same energy and that same buzz. Let us know if there's anything we can do to help you or support you. We are only a Facebook message, a cell phone call. I said cell phone. That's better than telephone. Jessica Craig doesn't like it when I say telephone. A phone call, a Facebook message, or a text away. There is someone here to help you accomplish what you want. So we're super pumped up. I'm gonna seriously consider church on Sunday.
Perfect. I'm gonna go ahead and stop the recording. I promise that I will get this up by tomorrow morning. So that you guys can tag people that weren't able to be on. But hopefully you will spread the word that they should be on some of these in the future because they are extremely valuable. And that maybe one of their goals is to be on all the weekly Zooms. So hopefully we get some new faces on here. And I really appreciate you guys for taking time out of your night to be on. And I'll talk to you guys later.